Hi guys, it's Lynn here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Now today guys, I'm very excited because I'm going to be sowing the Brasiliopuntia basilaris cactus seed that I harvested the other day. And I made a video when I harvested this seed from the fruit pod, and links up above to that video. If you haven't seen that video, give you a bit of an idea of what I'm actually sowing. And this is amazing because although it's a Brasiliopuntia, it's obviously part of the huge Opuntia family, which is a massive genus in the cactus family. But Brasiliopuntia is more of its own little speciality because it's a little bit different to the other Opuntias. And this is what is also interesting is that when you harvest the seed, usually with the normal Opuntias, you get a few little hard shelled cactus seeds in there. But with the Brasiliopuntia, you just sometimes only get the one. And in this case, I just had the one big seed, which I have here soaking in water, which I'm going to show you in a bit more detail in a minute. And that's interesting about these cacti. So this is what I'm going to be doing this video. Sowing it now. I've already made videos on how to grow cactus from seed. And I'm using this exact method for just this one seed. And if you haven't grown cacti from seed before and you want to know how I grow cacti from seed, do check the video out. Links will be up above to that video now. And also down below in the description section, it will tell you, click on the link how to grow cactus from seed. That's the method I use. I use the baggy method, and I sterilize the soil, and this is purely optional. Some people prefer not to use baggy methods, some people prefer not to sterilize the soil, but that's just how I do it because I find out better success like that. Now, what I normally recommend is if you don't have additional grow lamps or a special grow box for growing seedlings at this time of year, then I would wait until the springtime to sow cactus seeds. Cactus seed will keep up to several years if kept dry. But because I have grow lights and we've got additional warmth, I'm going to be sowing this seed now, and I'm going to be keeping it under the grow lights in the little baggie until it's big enough to come out. Now what I've done here with Opuntia seeds, they are quite a big shell, and this is the same with Brasiliopuntia. And some people say about scarificating the seed to encourage faster germination, or soaking the seed, or both. As in this case, I'm soaking this seed. I've soaked this seed for about 12 hours now, overnight in warmish water in a warm room, just to soften up the shell a little bit. And I've thoroughly removed any of the pulp that was on this seed that was on the fruit. So it's all clean in there. As you can see, it's all been soaking. And a good sign as well that the seed is viable is that it's sunk to the bottom, which is another good thing there. So I think it's healthy enough. Again, this is optional. You don't have to soak the seed. But Opuntia seed does take a long time to germinate. It can take 3 months or sometimes even up to 6 months to germinate. My last Brasiliopuntia seed I sown actually did take probably about 3 months to actually germinate. I nearly gave up on it, and then suddenly one day it just sprouted and whoop, 2 little leaves came up. So you just have to be very patient. I'm going to show you a few little tips what I'm going to be doing to encourage faster germination. So stay tuned to the whole of this video. Now try and keep this as short as possible because I have made a video already about how to grow cactus from seed. This is the same method, but this is just one seed. Now, as I say, I've soaked this seed, and the reason why I've done that to soften the shell to encourage faster germination. So that's the first little tip. And what we obviously got to do now is a clean sieve. I'm going to empty the water out, and the sieve will catch the little seed. I'm just going to go and do that now. So 2 seconds, guys. Now that's done. Now what I've done here, I have actually got a mixture of loam-based soil with about 80% loam and 20% perlite, and I've mixed the two together. I have put a little bit of extra sand in, but I use a John Innes it's a John Innes seed sowing compost, not the 1 or 2. This is purely the seed sowing compost, which is low in nutrients for seeds. And I've just added a little bit of extra sand and a little bit of perlite as well. Mix it all together, just for not necessarily for drainage at this time, because you want to sort of keep the seed damp, wet pretty much all the time to encourage germination. But once it has germinated, it will give you a little bit more drainage when I take it out of the bag. And what I've done here, I sterilised the soil. I put it in the microwave for about a minute because it was only a tiny bit of soil until it was piping hot, and then I let it cool down. And the reason why I do this is because it helps to kill any sort of the bad fungi or microbes in the soil. Now, soil is full of very good microbes, but you also get the bad ones as well. And when it comes to seed sowing, you want it as sterile as possible, and that's the only reason why I've microwave the soil. Some people put it in the oven, but you don't have to do this. It just helps to reduce fungal attack that bit more, which is why I do it. Now the seed again has been soaking here. That's all I'm going to be doing. It's wonderful just to show that little seed there. It is incredible. It's almost like a little pea. It's funny really that the puncture seeds are very sort of similar in how they look, and it has, as you can see, a little tiny furry outer coating of it, and that is why they do take longer to germinate, but softening it up this way will help. Little hole in there, putting it in. Now I want to be covering it just enough, just slightly there. And obviously if it was very fine seed, I probably wouldn't be covering it at all because it is a big, large seed. I'm treating this as I would any other type of a puncture seed, and I would put it a little bit into the soil. I've got the label here, Brasiliopuntia, brasiliensis. Oh, I'll write the name down obviously so you know what it is. Now I've got a little baggie here. And what we're doing then is putting that in here. Now the reason why I put it in the baggie, again, this is optional, but there's a couple of reasons why I do this. One is the most brilliant one is that you don't have to keep worrying about watering it all the time, because especially when they're in a small pot like this, you only have to let seeds dry out, especially when they're in the early germination stage, and any fine root hairs would just die and the seed will be gone. This means keeping it in this bag, I can pretty much forget about it for probably a good few weeks until the seedling is large enough to take up enough water naturally and dry out. The reason for this is this acts as a little greenhouse effect in here, and it keeps the humidity in, which young seedlings, even cactus seedlings, like. And it stops it from drying out. Now, obviously, if you have any fungus or anything that appear on top of the soil, sometimes that does happen in an enclosed environment. Less when you sterilise the soil, which is why I do it. But if it does, then obviously you do have to open the bag then and get it out and treat it with a fungicide, or sometimes spray it with a bit of water will get rid of the fungus. That's the only time I would take it out of the bag. But if there's no problems, I'll keep it in here pretty much until the little seedling is large enough to need to come out. Really, they can stay in there pretty much as long as possible until they really do sort of need to be watered. But you find that the constant condensation coming up will keep humidity always watered in there, so you don't really have to worry about watering for at least 3 months anyway. And as I say, puncture seeds do take a long time to germinate. Now what I'm going to be doing with this is I'm going to be taking this upstairs now, and as I said, I'm going to be putting it under the grow lights in a nice warm room in our grow room. But because seeds don't need light until they actually germinate, then the heat is the thing that really encourages seeds to germinate, the heat. So that's why I always recommend growing this if you haven't got additional heat or grow lights in the spring when the weather's warmer, otherwise it's going to take a long time to germinate. But in this case, as I say, they don't need light until they germinate. So to encourage faster germination, I'm going to be putting this into our boiler cupboard, which is where it keeps our hot water. Or here in Ireland and Northern Ireland, they nickname it the hot press, which is where we have the hot water boiler to heat up the water, and it's lovely and warm in there. So that's going to encourage faster, probably about 80, 90 degrees in there. So I'm just going to take this up now and show you what I'm going to be doing. Now, sorry if this is a bit grainy footage because this is in our landing and it doesn't have the best of light. But I've put that in here. This is all our towels in here. This is what they call the hot press in Ireland. And this is the boiler underneath, and that's going to give off, I'm sure everyone has something similar wherever you are in the world. It gives off great heat. So that's going to be kept in there possibly until it germinates. It's going to encourage it to germinate far faster in this lovely warm heating cupboard than it would just in the grow room. And then once it's germinated, I'm then going to be putting it under the grow lights to encourage it to grow fast. So that's a little tip there, and stay tuned for updates when it germinates, guys. So guys, thanks so much for watching, and I want to send you loads of love, heaps of happiness and tons of plant power. As always, from across the Emerald Isle, until the next video, bye. And there it's going to go until it germinates.